Hello and welcome back to the channel. Breaking news story here. This came out yesterday afternoon and I didn't get a chance to cover it, so I wanted to cover it first thing today. And that is that the Batgirl movie is getting canceled or shelved, whatever you want to call it. Now, the reports are that this movie costs somewhere between $70 million up to $100 million. I also heard 80 and 90 million, and so nobody really seems to know exactly how much it costs. Let's just say probably somewhere in the middle, 85 to 90, no more than maybe about $100 million. Well, why is this being canceled? Well, according to this article in the New York Post, part of it was that the screen tests did not go so well. They say here those tests were said to be so poorly received by moviegoers that the studio decided to cut its losses and run for the sake of the brand's future. It's a DC disaster. They think an unspeakable Batgirl is going to be irredeemable. That's a pretty strong word. So let's go into this a little bit further, though. Now, keep in mind that Batgirl is sort of the latest incarnation of what I would like to call the DCU. And this was largely, apparently rumor has it, the brainchild of Ann Sarnoff. Now, you'll recall that Ann Sarnoff was the previous CEO of Warner. She came into Warner in about 2018, and apparently she greenlit these projects. Now, Ann Sarnoff is no longer with Warner and has been replaced by David Zaslav. So here you can see David Zaslav, who was with Discovery and after the merger became the CEO of Warner. And I believe the term for this is Ann Sarnoff will depart or will step down as the CEO. This is how it was reported after the merger. And that is basically code for she got fired. Aside from this, you can see under Wikipedia, you can see this entry in the summer of 2019. Actually, Sarnoff became first woman CEO of Warner Brothers on April 8th, 2022. She stepped down from her role upon the merger of the Warner Media and Discovery Inc. and has subsequently not done anything. Now, I want you to see exactly what Ann Sarnoff inherited and then some of the DC projects that were put out while she was the CEO. So first of all, 2018 Aquaman. This is what she inherited. This came out just before she took over, and this was the state of the DC universe before. Now, worldwide box office was $1.1 billion. Now, keep in mind, this was, of course, this was just before the unknown virus of unknown origin that shall not be named. This box office this movie made 7.1 times its production budget. So it was a huge commercial success. Now, in terms of Rotten Tomatoes, the score is not great. Critics score still has it fresh. Audience score also has it it's kind of it's a good score, 73. It's not a great score. I enjoyed the movie. I think this is a pretty fair score, and for no other reason than there are some awkward moments in the movie, and I think you all know what I mean. That seems to be the chemistry or lack thereof with Amber Turd. Not only did her performance shit the bed, but she literally shit the bed. Now, that aside, let's see the projects that came after. Here's an example of one of the projects that came after, and that was Wonder Woman 1984. Now, this movie was not a commercial success. Keep in mind, I think it was pushed back originally because of the pandemic. And then let's look at how much money it made. Now, it made in worldwide box office 0.8 times its production budget. Again, largely because of the virus and the lockdowns and all of that. So, not completely fair to look at just the commercial, but we can, of course, look at the thoughts by the critics on this and the audience. Now, the audience liked this about as much as Aquaman. I can't say I did. I'm probably more in line with the critics on this one, 58%. This movie is just a goddamn disaster, all right? I'm not saying it's like, well, yeah, I'm not saying it's super woke. It definitely is a little bit girl powered, but so was Wonder Woman. Although Wonder Woman was probably a little more balanced in that regard. Wonder Woman was a good movie with a coherent story. That cannot be said for this movie. Obviously, there were other issues that the movie had, like the fact that Diana has intimate relations with this guy while Steve Trevor inhabits his body. That sounds like some sort of interaction without permission. It is. Like I said, this movie has issues, but it was basically a terrible story, terrible, I think, pacing, and the story and the dialogue, things like that. They just didn't come together. They didn't make sense. There was a little bit of wokeism in it with the whole the guy who's playing the villain who, yeah, I think someone flat out came out from, some insider and said, yeah, he's supposed to be representative of Trump. This was the kind of shit that was going on back then and is still going on to some extent. So where do we go from here? Well, there was another movie that part of the DCU that got greenlit, and that would be Birds of Prey. Now, Birds of Prey actually did a little bit better. It made a tiny bit of money. It worldwide box office was about 2.5 times the production budget. Now, remember, generally accepted, a movie needs to make twice the budget to break even. So this one made a little bit more, a little bit of money, not much. How well was this movie received? Well, this movie was actually received better, and according to the scores, better than Aquaman. Now, I don't know if I would say it was better than Aquaman. It definitely was better in terms of not having any awkward acting moments that just didn't work. I didn't see that in this movie, and of course, Margot Robbie is actually excellent in this movie. My only issue with this movie is that I think they took away actually some of Harley Quinn's, to use a wokey term, agency. Harley Quinn's actually kind of a badass, and in this movie she's presented as, it's not the goofiness and the silliness, but it's the aspect that she's somehow just lucky, or that things just happen. Like, she bends over and her butt hits something and something falls over and magically knocks somebody out. It's that kind of shit. And that just really didn't sit well with me because that wasn't her character previously. That wasn't in line with her character. Now, if you've seen her from Suicide Squad, you know that that's not who Harley Quinn is. She's actually got some legitimate skills. She's a fucking psychopath and a legitimate killer. Basically, the thoughts are that Ann Sarnoff wanted to take the DCU to the DCU and replace Batman and Superman with eventually Batgirl and Supergirl. Unfortunately, the merger, and well, I say unfortunately, but also fortunately, the merger happened and basically derailed all of this. David Zaslav came in, said, we're not going to do this. We're not going to deprecate our most popular and the best DC characters that we have, which are Batman and Superman, and just replace them with Batgirl and Supergirl. Now, I don't even know why you need to do this. Obviously, all of these characters exist at the same time in the same universe. You don't have to replace one with the other. While I do understand that they were trying to adapt the Batman Beyond storyline to Batgirl, I don't think you needed to do that. I would still like to see something along the lines of a Batman Beyond storyline. And I guess my biggest regret around the things that aren't going to be happening now in Batgirl is that I'm not going to get to see Michael Keaton. As you know, Michael Keaton was scheduled to appear or did scenes for Batgirl for the movie, and as he was going to be Bruce Wayne. Now, the other story is that yes, the story is that he also did scenes for Aquaman 2. And now the latest is that those scenes have been cut. So basically, this storyline with an older Batman is seemingly being removed from Batgirl or from the DCU, which may also be another explanation as to why this movie got shelved. It could be that if David Zaslav does not want to take the DCU in this direction, and if that was central to the plot, this plot of having Michael Keaton as the original Batman, basically, I think this was actually supposed to come out after Flashpoint. Flashpoint is going to explore the multiverse, where we're going to see Ben Affleck as Batman, and we're going to see Michael Keaton as an older Batman from another universe. And I think originally that was supposed to come out, then Batgirl was supposed to come out because Flash was supposed to come out a long time ago. That movie kind of keeps getting recycled though. All the photography, all the filming and shooting is done. It's been pushed back yet again. There's all the craziness with Ezra Miller and all that. So in any case, a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of possible reasons why this Batgirl movie is basically being shelved. And it boils down to several different possibilities. So first of all, it didn't test well amongst audiences. And if a movie's not going to test, if it's not going to be a hit, then I think at this point, David Zaslav doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Another thing then is that I've also heard that basically the film was just not up to snuff as far as cinematic quality. Now, originally, again, even a film like this, even $100 million budget is really not enough money to get it to the level of quality of a theater release. And indeed, this was not scheduled to be released into theaters. This was scheduled to go to streaming through HBO Max. And it could be that Zaslav just doesn't want to take that direction either. It also could be getting rid of this storyline where we have the older Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, the Batman Beyond Batman. Again, my regret is I don't get to see Michael Keaton as Batman again, as it seems like he's also been cut from Aquaman 2. He is going to be in Flash, the Flash movie, Flashpoint. I don't expect him to be removed from that simply because it's a multiverse movie. They could leave him in there and, if the movie is edited such that, here's a Batman from another universe and then we fix all the stuff and he disappears and goes back to his own universe. The other thing that I am kind of regretful that I'm not going to get to see is J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. And the only reason why, and I think this would have been confusing as hell, because if you know, J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson. And he did such a good job. He made that character so believable that I will always see him as J. Jonah Jameson from the Marvel universe, from the MCU. So to have him as Commissioner Gordon was interesting. I really just wanted to see an outtake where he told Batgirl to get me more pictures of Spider-Man. But apparently we're not going to get to see that. That's something I will enjoy not seeing actually from this movie is this outfit, which is absolutely horrible. This looks like a made-for-TV outfit. This is truly cringeworthy costume. I would expect to see this from 1970s or a 1980s TV show, but today I don't know. I don't like this costume at all. I would expect to see something better than this. All right, so that is the news on Batgirl getting shelved. Tell me what you think. Why do you think it's getting shelved? Is it the film quality? Is it the trying to get rid of this other storyline with the older Batman, the Batman Beyond storyline, and preserve the DCU instead of taking us into the DCU? Or is it just because the movie sucked and Zaslav isn't going to have a bomb on his hands as one of his first movies that debuts under his leadership. Tell me what you think below. And look, if you want to keep smashing the narrative, then smash the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.